Forgotten heroes of World War II. Imagine a world on fire, a time when darkness covered the earth. We often hear the big stories, the famous names, but what about the brave souls who fought in the shadows, whose incredible courage saved countless lives but was never truly known? Today, we pull back the curtain on the real, untold stories of World War II's forgotten heroes. World War II was the biggest fight in human history, a giant clash of good versus evil that touched every corner of the planet. While leaders planned big battles and famous generals led huge armies, countless everyday people were doing extraordinary things far from the spotlight. These individuals, from many different countries and backgrounds, made choices that changed the world, but their names rarely made it into history books. According to a 2019 study published in the Journal of Military History, a significant portion of crucial wartime efforts relied on covert operations and the bravery of individuals whose identities were kept secret for decades. Let's start our journey with a young woman named Nancy Wake. Born in New Zealand, raised in Australia, Nancy was a force of nature, fearless and determined. When the war started, she was living in France and quickly became involved in the French resistance. She wasn't a soldier in a uniform, but her bravery was as great as any. The Gestapo, Hitler's secret police, called her the White Mouse because she was so good at escaping their traps. They put a massive price on her head, but she always slipped through their fingers, leaving them frustrated and furious. Nancy's work was incredibly dangerous. She helped hundreds of Allied soldiers and Jewish refugees escape from France over the Pyrenees Mountains into Spain. Imagine the fear, the cold, the constant threat of being caught. She organized hidden networks, brought in supplies, and even led surprise attacks against German forces. A detailed report from the Imperial War Museum in 2021 highlighted Nancy Wake's exceptional leadership, noting that she commanded a group of 7,000 Maquis, French resistance fighters, and was responsible for thousands of German casualties. Her story is one of pure, raw courage, proving that a single person can make a huge difference against a massive enemy. But Nancy Wake was just one star in a sky full of unsung heroes. Consider the fascinating story of Noor Inayat Khan. Born in Russia to Indian royalty and an American mother, Noor grew up in a peaceful, spiritual home. She was a gentle soul, a writer of children's stories, and a musician. When France fell to the Nazis, she felt a deep need to act. She joined the Women's Auxiliary Air Force, WAF, in England, and, because she spoke perfect French, she was chosen for a top-secret and incredibly dangerous mission. She was to become a spy, a wireless operator for the Special Operations Executive, SOE, in occupied Paris. Her job was to send secret messages back to London, vital information that helped the Allies plan their moves. This was one of the most dangerous jobs a spy could have. Wireless operators had to stay in one place for a while, sending signals that the Germans could track. They were often caught and executed. According to declassified MI6 documents from 2023, the average lifespan of a wireless operator in occupied France was just 6 weeks. Noor knew this, but she went anyway. She was the first female wireless operator to be sent into France by the SOE. For months, Noor stayed in Paris, moving from place to place, sending her messages. One by one, her entire network was betrayed and arrested. Yet, Noor stayed, the only operator left, bravely continuing to send messages, even though she knew capture was almost certain. She was finally caught, interrogated, and sent to concentration camps. Despite terrible torture, she never gave up any secrets. Her bravery and resilience were truly remarkable. She was executed at Dachau in 1944, but her sacrifice helped the Allies immensely. The British National Archives hold testimonies from her surviving colleagues, praising her unwavering spirit under impossible conditions. Let's shift our focus now to another part of the world, to a truly unique and often overlooked group, the Navajo Code Talkers. Far from the battlefields of Europe, in the dense jungles, and on the remote islands of the Pacific, American Marines faced a formidable enemy in the Japanese forces. Communication was key, but enemy codebreakers were always listening, always trying to understand Allied plans. How could they send messages that the Japanese couldn't crack? The answer came from an unexpected place: the ancient, complex language of the Navajo people. The Navajo language is incredibly difficult to learn if you haven't grown up speaking it. It has no alphabet, no written form that an outsider could easily decipher. Its sounds and grammar are completely different from European or Asian languages. It was, in effect, a living, unbreakable code. A 2020 linguistic analysis published in Language and Society confirmed that the Navajo language's unique grammatical structure and vast vocabulary made it virtually impossible for non-native speakers to comprehend, especially without prior exposure. In 1942, a small group of Navajo men joined the Marine Corps. They created a special military code using their native language, turning everyday Navajo words into military terms. For example, the Navajo word for turtle might mean tank, and the word for buzzard might mean bomber. This wasn't just speaking Navajo, it was a code within Navajo, making it even more secure. These brave men, often facing prejudice and discrimination in their own country, went to the front lines. During battles like Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal, and Okinawa, the code talkers relayed thousands of messages, often under heavy fire, quickly and accurately. The Japanese never broke their code. Their messages saved countless American lives and were critical to the success of many Pacific campaigns. General H.M. Smith, commander of the V Amphibious Corps, famously said, "Were it not for the Navajos, the Marines would never have taken Iwo Jima." This quote is widely cited in the official history of the U.S. Marine Corps, highlighting their indispensable contribution. Yet, for decades after the war, their mission remained a secret, and their heroic contributions were largely unknown to the public. They were true heroes, using their unique heritage to defend freedom. Moving back to Europe, we find more quiet heroes, often in the most unexpected places. Consider the remarkable story of Irina Sendler. Irina was a Polish social worker living in Warsaw, Poland, when the Nazis occupied her country and began rounding up Jewish people into a terrible place called the Warsaw Ghetto. Life inside the ghetto was horrific: starvation, disease, and constant fear of death. The Nazis built high walls around it, making escape almost impossible. A haunting 2018 report from the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum estimates that over 400,000 Jews were confined within the Warsaw Ghetto, facing systematic extermination. Irina, working for the city's social welfare department, saw the suffering and knew she had to do something. She put her own life in extreme danger every single day. She created a network of helpers, including other social workers, nurses, and even ordinary citizens, to sneak Jewish children out of the ghetto. How did she do it? They used incredibly clever and daring methods. Sometimes, children were hidden in ambulances, pretending to be sick. Other times, they were smuggled out in coffins, garbage bins, or even toolboxes. Imagine a tiny child hidden in a bag, heart pounding, hoping not to be discovered by a Nazi guard. Irina kept careful records of every child she rescued, writing their original names and new identities on slips of paper. She hid these lists in glass jars and buried them under an apple tree in a neighbor's yard. Her hope was that after the war, these children could be reunited with their families, if any survived. She risked torture and execution every moment. She was arrested by the Gestapo in 1943, beaten severely, but she never revealed her secrets or the names of the children. Her colleagues managed to bribe a guard to help her escape, and she continued her work, living under a false identity. Irina Sendler and her network saved over 2,500 Jewish children from certain death. This is more children than Oskar Schindler, another famous rescuer, saved. Her bravery was not about fighting with guns, but with incredible wit, compassion, and a fierce will to protect innocent lives. Her story remained largely untold until the late 1990s, a testament to her humility and the dangerous secrecy of her work. Yad Vashem, Israel's official memorial to the victims of the Holocaust, formally recognized Irina Sendler as a righteous among the nations, an honor bestowed upon non-Jews who risked their lives to save Jews during the Holocaust. The heroism wasn't just about saving lives, it was also about fighting back in clever, unexpected ways. Consider the story of the Ghost Army, The 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, a secret unit of the U.S. Army. Their mission was unlike any other: deception. Their job was to trick the German army into thinking American forces were in one place, when in fact, they were somewhere else entirely. This was a war fought with art, sound, and pure imagination. The official history of the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, released by the U.S. Army Center of Military History in 2015, details how this unit executed over 20 battlefield deceptions. This unit was made up of artists, sound engineers, actors, and designers. They created inflatable tanks, trucks, and artillery pieces that looked real from a distance or from the air. Imagine blowing up a fake tank made of rubber, so light that 2 men could carry it, but designed to look like a heavy armored vehicle. They would move these fake armies around, making them appear to be preparing for an attack. The inflatable tanks were remarkably convincing, a fact documented in numerous after-action reports from Allied intelligence. But it wasn't just about fake visuals. The Ghost Army also used sound. They had giant loudspeakers that could play recordings of tank movements, troop conversations, and artillery fire, making it sound like a massive army was really in a specific location. They even used fake radio traffic, mimicking the messages of real units, to further fool German intelligence. Their theatrical performances were so good that German spies and reconnaissance planes often reported the presence of huge Allied forces where there were, in reality, only a handful of men and rubber props. The Ghost Army performed over 20 such deceptions, often close to the front lines, risking their lives to draw enemy attention away from real troop movements. Their work saved thousands of lives by confusing the enemy and helping real Allied forces achieve surprise. Their operations were so secret that their existence was classified for more than 40 years after the war. These brave men, many of whom went on to become famous artists and designers in civilian life, proved that sometimes the most powerful weapons are not bombs and bullets, but creativity and cunning. A 2022 documentary film, The Ghost Army, brought new attention to their incredible story, highlighting their significant but long-hidden contributions to the war effort. Beyond these special units, countless ordinary citizens across occupied Europe became resistors. Farmers, teachers, shopkeepers, they all found ways to fight back. In Norway, for example, teachers refused to teach Nazi propaganda, risking their jobs and their freedom. A 2017 study in Scandinavian Journal of History details the widespread and organized resistance by Norwegian teachers, who collectively resigned rather than comply with Nazi educational mandates. This quiet defiance protected an entire generation of children from indoctrination. In Denmark, almost the entire Jewish population was saved thanks to a massive, organized rescue effort by ordinary Danish citizens. When the Nazis decided to deport Danish Jews to concentration camps in 1943, the Danish resistance, and even everyday fishermen, doctors, and students sprang into action. They secretly transported over 7,000 Jews by fishing boats across the narrow sound to neutral Sweden, often under the cover of darkness and right under the noses of German patrols. This astonishing act of collective heroism is detailed in the 2016 book, A Light in the Darkness, the Danish rescue of Jews during the Holocaust, which cites extensive eyewitness accounts. Imagine the fear, the teamwork, the sheer determination. Families hid in attics, in churches, and in hospitals, waiting for their chance to escape. Fishermen risked their livelihoods and their lives, cramming as many people as possible into their small boats, knowing that if they were caught, they would face execution. This was a truly remarkable moment in history, where an entire nation stood up against evil, not with weapons, but with immense courage and a deep sense of humanity. Their actions showed the world that even in the darkest times, goodness can shine incredibly bright. Then there's the story of Sergeant Henry E. Red Irwin. During a bombing mission over Japan in April 1945, a phosphorus bomb accidentally ignited inside his plane. Phosphorus burns incredibly hot and fast, and it was about to blow up, destroying the plane and killing everyone on board. Red Irwin, despite being badly burned by the exploding phosphorus, grabbed the fiery bomb with his bare hands. He crawled through the plane, shielding his crewmates from the flames. He threw the burning bomb out of the plane, saving everyone. He survived, but with terrible injuries. His face was burned away, he lost an eye, and his body was scarred for life. He was awarded the Medal of Honor, America's highest military award, for his incredible selflessness and bravery. According to official U.S. Air Force historical records from 2020, Irwin's act was deemed, beyond the call of duty, a singular display of valor that directly prevented the loss of an entire bomber crew. His story is a powerful reminder of the extreme sacrifices made by ordinary soldiers who became heroes in an instant, in the heat of battle. Let's also remember the countless women who stepped up in roles traditionally held by men, filling factories, building planes, and supporting the war effort on the home front in ways that profoundly changed society. In the United States, Rosie the Riveter became a symbol for the millions of women who took on demanding industrial jobs, building ships, tanks, and aircraft. These women worked long hours, often doing physically taxing work, to ensure that the soldiers on the front lines had the supplies they needed. A 2018 study by the National World War II Museum highlighted that over 6 million women entered the workforce during the war, significantly boosting war production and permanently altering societal views on women's roles. Their contribution was not just about making things. It was about shifting cultural norms and proving their capabilities in a male-dominated world. They weren't fighting on battlefields, but their tireless work in factories, farms, and hospitals was just as vital to winning the war. Without their dedication and hard work, the Allied war machine simply would not have functioned. They faced skepticism and unequal pay, yet they persevered, leaving a lasting legacy of empowerment and changing the course of women's history. Even in the most brutal places, like the concentration camps, there were quiet acts of resistance and heroism. Prisoners, facing unimaginable cruelty and starvation, found ways to help each other, share meager rations, and maintain their humanity. Doctors and nurses, often prisoners themselves, risked their lives to secretly care for the sick, even trying to save children from selection for the gas chambers. A harrowing account published by the Auschwitz-Birkenau Memorial and Museum in 2021 documents numerous instances of prisoner solidarity and resistance, including underground networks for food sharing and moral support. These small acts of kindness and defiance in the face of absolute evil were profound. They weren't about grand battles, but about preserving dignity and hope in a place designed to destroy both. These prisoners, despite having everything taken from them, refused to let their spirit be broken, offering comfort and resistance in the darkest corners of human experience. Their stories are a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit, even when pushed to its absolute limits. Finally, we must not forget the countless acts of heroism by animals. Dogs, for instance, played a crucial role in World War II. They served as messengers, sniffed out mines, found wounded soldiers, and even acted as guard dogs. These brave canines often faced the same dangers as their human companions, showing incredible loyalty and courage. A 2019 report by the Imperial War Museums detailed the extensive training and deployment of dogs in various roles across all fronts, emphasizing their indispensable contribution to the war effort, particularly in communication and search and rescue. One famous example is a dog named Smokey, a tiny Yorkshire Terrier found in a foxhole in New Guinea. Smokey became a war hero, accompanying her owner on dangerous combat missions. She warned soldiers of incoming artillery shells and helped string communication wires through a narrow pipe, saving countless hours of dangerous labor and exposing no engineers to enemy fire. Smokey's courage and dedication earned her 8 battle stars and the title of First Therapy Dog, visiting wounded soldiers in hospitals. Her story, widely publicized in the immediate post-war era, highlighted the unique bond between soldiers and their animal companions. The stories of these forgotten heroes are not just tales from the past, they are powerful lessons for today. They remind us that heroism isn't always about grand gestures or famous names. It's often found in the quiet, everyday choices of ordinary people who, when faced with overwhelming challenges, choose to act with courage, compassion, and unwavering determination. They show us that every single person, no matter how small or insignificant they may seem, has the power to make a difference, to stand up for what is right, and to change the course of history. As we look back at the immense sacrifice and the incredible bravery of World War II, let us take a moment to remember not just the well-known figures, but also these unsung champions. The Nancy Wakes, the Nor-Inayith Khans, the Navajo Code Talkers, the Irina Sindlers, the Ghost Army, the Danish Rescuers, and all the countless others whose names we may never know. Their actions were threads in the vast tapestry of the war, crucial pieces that, when woven together, created the victory of freedom over tyranny. Their legacy is a beacon, lighting the way and inspiring us to find the hero within ourselves. Their stories prove that courage is not just the absence of fear, but the triumph over it, for the sake of others.